Now, the aviation industry makes a major contribution to the South African economy. The industry promotes tourism and employs thousands of people. With that being said, the aviation industry is still inaccessible as a career path for many historically disadvantaged people. Joining us now to speak about transformation in the industry is Pappie Maja from the South African Civil Aviation Authority. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time this morning. We are looking at the dynamics of the airline industry as well, aviation industry, pardon me, as well as tourism, and learning of the big impact that this sector makes when it comes to sprucing up the country's economy. Now, we know that there are some disadvantages, there are some challenges within the industry and the access to the industry. Let's talk a little bit about those.
Of course, yes, indeed, there are some of the challenges, as you say. Then most of the times, if you check, when you check things like historically, this industry has been dominated by whites, and then now, if ever you check, when it comes to pilots as South Africans, we have about 7.1% compared to whites who've got 89.2%, and colors are only 1.3%, and Indians are 1.7%. And also it goes further to when you go to engineering, where whites are 80% compared to 20% of combined whites, blacks, rather combined blacks, Indians, and colors. So it's one of the things which is very much challenging as South African Civil Aviation Authority. And we make sure that we have to come here and also to make sure that we actually create an awareness in careers in aviation, to say the least. Because if you check also, we've got only less than 6% of women who constitute in piloting since 100 years ever when the first commercial flight took off. So you can see that indeed this industry is not yet transformed, and it's one of the things which we really have to make sure that we encourage people to make sure that they pursue careers in aviation in order for us to balance these numbers, because this is not only South African problem, but it goes beyond our nation and globally so.
In your calls for diversity, what do you believe to be some of the major challenges in accessing careers in the aviation industry?
One of the things which actually create these challenges is the cost, because now if you check, it costs a lot to become a pilot, it costs a lot to become any other to be any other professional in aviation. So that's one of the things. But then again, as I spoke to you, that also history itself is the one which made this industry to be where it is now. So, and as South African Civil Aviation Authority, that's where then we have to make sure that we indeed make sure that we infiltrate to this industry, and we make sure that all the people, more especially of our color, black, Indian, and colors, make sure that they go to this industry in order for us to ensure that we are well set off as the country, because we really want to make sure and see if this when this industry is indeed transformed.
And what are you doing as an organization to ensure and help and drive the message of transformation?
Historically, since 2014, we've been face-to-face with learners, and we've already interacted with about 100,000 learners throughout South Africa, and we have been going straight to all these previously disadvantaged learners at rural areas. And again, we have what we call as school visits, where we interact with these learners with their languages they understand, because one of the things, it becomes a language barrier where they might not even understand what we'll be talking about. But then now we made it our responsibility as South African Civil Aviation Authority to ensure that these learners are being taught or are being told about aviation in their language as they understand it. And one other thing which is very much exciting, we always have what we call career exhibitions. We also have during October Transport Month each year we celebrate, we do air shows. So far we have visited places like Dundee, Alabora, and last year we were in Ladysmith, and we went to Mthatha a year before. So in that way, we also want to excite and also entice the excitement to these learners to tell and also show them that this is actually possible, as much as you are from rural area, Moletlane in Zibidela, or as you are from rural area in Mtubatua, but you can always become that pilot, you can always become that aircraft maintenance engineer, something you have always wanted. You can always become a traffic controller. So those are some of the things, and other people might not even know that we've got about over 45 courses or career opportunities in aviation where you can always choose from. It's not only about piloting, it's not only about a cabin crew, but there are so many engineering. You can become an aviation lawyer and so forth and so forth. So that's when then people will have to make sure that they can choose from so many career opportunities from aviation.
And very lastly, before we let you go, as we speak of aviation, we know that there's been a mixed reaction to the allocation of another 10.5 billion rand to the troubled airline SAA. And reaction has been coming in with, for instance, the organization Undoing Tax Abuse now calling for a boycott, saying that the state is essentially wasting money by funding SAA. What's your position on this bailout?
As South African Civil Aviation Authority, remember that we are the regulator. So whatever is happening between one of our operators and the third party, we do not actually become involved. We distance ourselves until they have actually resolved their matter. So now this one will have to go to the Department of Enterprises.
Okay, if you say that aspect, we know that the bulk of the aviation experts that you say needs to be transformed will essentially go to SAA and be employed there. So when it comes to the livelihood of SAA, what do you have to say to that, as it forms a crucial puzzle of ensuring that there are indeed job opportunities for the young and enthusiastic aviation future that you speak of?
And you are right, because it becomes unfortunate when there are actually jobs risk when it comes to that. But then again, one other thing which we always focus on as we speak now as South African Civil Aviation Authority, we always make sure that we focus on young ones in order for them to be better people in future. Because as I'm speaking to you now, Mpo, I can tell you that we've been having bursary programs which are indeed making sure that they are taking care of learners who are interested in aviation. And so now, up to now, we have about more than 30 bursary beneficiaries, of which others we actually make sure that we give them training, internship, and others are being employed by South African Civil Aviation Authority permanently as I speak to you now. So that's one of the things which we always make sure that as much as jobs are scarce, and also as much as jobs are things we always talk about, and as South African Civil Aviation Authority, those learners we give bursaries to, we always make sure that we take care of them.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. Pappie Maja from the South African Civil Aviation Authority.